Welcome, Kushala.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. I'm so happy for you to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, madam.
Okay, so we'll do that last, okay, Kushala?
Yes.
So we are doing this very lovely group, I think, almost the largest in this column is the Fables. It has wonderful remedies. And I want to, of course, Kushala, I want to share with you also that we finished doing row 1 and it's been very useful.
Yeah.
I want to show this to you. Can you see?
Yes.
So I had this ecchymotic spot, almost 3/4 of an inch from 26th of December or one day before, and it just wouldn't move. It was just dark purple, you know, and it wouldn't move for 7 days. It was like that from one Monday to the next. And I think this must be my first failure of Anita, actually. And it wouldn't move at all. It was so dark and I was getting so bothered. And then I couldn't, I took some time to get that Terminalia Arjuna. And finally, I got it last Monday. I think that was the 2nd of, last Monday, mean this Monday, 2nd of January. And I got the mother tincture and I started taking it. Actually, first I took it in a 15 ml water. I put only 2-3 drops. From the second, third day, I started taking 5 drops. But immediately it started, becoming less. And we are only on second, third, fourth, today is the 5th, I think. And even from the morning, I sent a picture in the group. Even after the morning, this says after my 5 drops, it has become so light. It's almost gone. By tomorrow, it will go. It is really very, very, very satisfying, and a remedy which I would not have known at all, or used. So it is very gratifying to do this study. And yeah. I have used another remedy, of course, prunus I've used, we've already discussed. And I've used that evening primrose, your Senta Biena, with another person who's getting no sleep in the evening with lot of anxiety and all. No sleep at all, even after taking sleep tablets. And last 3 days, that also I got only on Monday, that remedy. And so last 3 days, I'm asking her and she's saying, I'm sleeping, but I don't think she understands it is due to this medicine. She's saying, oh, this happened, that happened, whatever. But I know it is this medicine. So it's really very gratifying to do this study in detail. When you teach, you learn much more than when you just listen or, attend a class. So I'm quite happy with all of this. I hope all of you are also happy. People, yeah. So they are all on mute, so they can't talk. Okay, so today we are doing Fables. I think this is the second row, and this has about 45 remedies. To altogether, the other two families have only 1, 1, 2, 2. Altogether, they have 50 remedies, and some of them are really, really going to be useful to us. Even the 1 or 2 we do today are going to be useful. So these are the three in that, Rosales, Martales, and these are our Fables we're doing. So, of course, column 5, we know it is the masculine quality, the separation between feminine and masculine, and the split. The main problem is the relationship with the other. The father comes more into play, the rules, the boundaries, and discipline. So, with that discipline and the boundaries come the dogmatic religion. So, you have a lot of religious mania in this group, today's group, especially fanaticism, rigidity, suppression, criticism, hierarchy. And now, till the mother's level, we didn't know anything about hierarchy. Me and the mother, everybody was one. Now we know there is one, somebody on top, then second, then third, and so on. And in this column, we start with the work we start with ambition, we start with what we are going to do in life and the purpose. And in this group, especially, you have when you can't move, they can't move. In spite of knowing what they want to do or knowing they want to be the other, they can't move. So the limbs and joints are maximally affected. So that was the column 5. Now the row 2, this is now row 2. So far we've done row 1 and we've seen all of it, working for us. If any of you all also have had some successes or used it, please share. So here it is now satisfaction of the instinctual urges. What I want, I get. There is a lot of desire. There's boundless, they call desire. And need is for enjoyment and intense sensual experience. Also, the routine comes into action. And then now this connectivity, they want to connect, but they can't connect. So the problem is with recognizing the other, wanting to connect, can't move, don't know how to go about it, and finally leading to isolation. So we are going to talk a lot in this about existential insecurity, mistrust, suspiciousness. So when we can't move or if we get betrayed, then a lot of mistrust comes. And in this second row, we are going to talk much about mistrust, suspiciousness, hopelessness, and failure. So the theme is in coordination between the operation of the heart and the mind. We want something, but we don't know if we can work towards it or if we can get it. So we want to act, but the suppression now of the heart has begun because the feminine is withdrawing. The emotions are now congested. So congestion is the major play. We've been talking about congestion right from row 1. Here it is maximally congested emotion and activity is hindered. So despite the willingness to act, the knowledge of how to act and how to go about it is insufficient, and that produces a spasmodic state. So they want to then withdraw and cling. The monkey clings to the mother. So the location is in the second row. This brings us what, as we said, a fundamental distrust. So this distrust and this insecurity brings about miserliness. You'll see it in all the groups, all the remedies. Fear of poverty, loss of property, and no food. So there maybe we'll see a case where there's a joint family and food is not enough. So then as a reaction, you may have anorexia, which is like as if, a self-fulfilling prophecy of not getting enough for existence. And responding to this threat in a syphilitic way. So this remedy, then where you get it like that, it is a syphilitic remedy. So it produces that feeling that the other might want to be a danger to you, endanger your life. And there is clinging and desire to remain within your comfort zone. For the monkey, it is the mother. And a protective shelter. So like the family. So they react like in a juvenile way, like an unsatisfied baby, holds his breath, refuses to eat. Anorexia, we said, which is a reaction, a syphilitic reaction, just screams and kicks around. Rosenthal says this. So the Febes, I told you, has many, many remedies. It has 45 remedies. We haven't put in all of them. Some of them are known to us, like Lathyrus for paralysis, oxide. So many remedies. So the Leguminaceae, now called Fabaceae, it was called Leguminaceae, with the pea family. So stage is oral. There's a lot of dependency and the family. So oral stage, not enough to eat, dependent and wanting a lot. So there's a lot of anxiety if any problem with the family comes. Of course, in that womb stage and the oral stage, we want instant gratification. very impulsive, works on from instincts, and no guts or capacity to do work. It starts, but it cannot continue. So this time we are going to do it a little differently. Instead of taking all the generals right in the beginning, we are going to take some cases and then build up the generals and then take some more cases. So here, Jenny Tree gives us a case of a lady with a heart problem and angina and a lot of anxiety with irregular heartbeats. We know, right, that the problems are with the head and the heart. So heart is obviously going to be affected. And the nose and the ear, we've done the heart, the ear and the heart inside it. It takes the dog for a walk for 15 minutes and needs to rest for 1 hour. That bad is the irregularity. And the cough is so hard that the chest hurt like a wound. Headache, the blood vessels are pulsating. Again, we know congestion is the theme. So congestive headache with the BP. And of course, too much of the heart complaints, irregular pulse, and with any stress, the face gets red. So you may think of Drosera also, right? Our first thing, face cough, the face red. As soon as you lie down, you think of Drosera. Now you can think of other things. So while we are doing this, I must also tell you that sometimes we get enthusiastic about, learning these new remedies. Okay, so what remedy Rama is asking? Sorry, she just came in. Shahala and Rama have just come in. So, yeah, which is the remedy? Tell us. Rama, it was Arjuna, Terminalia, and just the mother tincture and see the spot. I'm really, really happy. So now I was telling you, get too enthusiastic. I have this patient with terrible dysuria and urine problem. She has to sit from 7 to 11 on the pot and all. But the whole thing picture fitted. I thought it was prunus. So I've been trying prunus repetition. Then I gave her 1M just 2 days ago, but no change. So today I retook the case and went back to a older remedy. Of course, Cantharis has also been given. But she doesn't have the anger and this and that of Cantharis. Cantharis didn't work. Prunus has not worked. And now today she told us, sorry for digressing, but I thought, if when we say too enthusiastically new remedies, and we want to use them, sometimes they don't work. Prunus has really not worked. And today we went on and on about the history and retook the case. And she's such a nice lady. She says, I love everybody. My mother-in-law was the best and I did so much for her and she loved me. And she keeps talking about her father and everybody she loves. And I've known her for actually a number of years, 30 years. Always found her very pleasant and nice and soft and all that. But so today, when I said about dreams and all, she said, dream, I get a dream of people who are, my own people who have died. I dream about them. Then I like that dream to continue. But then she said a very strange thing. I get dreams about people I hate. And what about them? No, I haven't thought of them. I don't in touch with them for many years, 20 years. And still I don't know what happens when you dream. I just get up, walk about, have water. I don't want to have that dream. Then I found a rubric called Dreams about people who have been nasty to her and not helped. Only lack equinum was there. But I felt she is okay. I then asked more, and then she said the only animal, she's not really an animal person, but she likes cats. Even cats, would you pet? Yeah, in the building also I pet them. My sisters got 2 cats, I pet them. And then also she's told us funny things actually over the time, that she's very independent, though she looks to me quite dependent, but She said, I don't want help from anybody. Even these people who have been nasty to her, no, not that I wanted help. I don't want help. So of course I was thinking of lac felinum, but she said not an animal person. And then she came out with saying that, people, she's always nice and she does so much for people, but there are people who blame her and never tell her why. Even there, those people's children love them, but come and tell them we can't talk to you. Our parents say no. So, and why? At least they can come out and tell us why it is, but they don't tell us. What have I done wrong? I can correct it. No, they don't tell us. So I said, so what do you feel about it? She said, I feel blamed. So is it that you've done something? I've done nothing. So I blame unnecessarily. So then the whole picture came to Staphylococcus aureus, our favorite remedy. And of course, Pulsatilla was the third highest, and Staphylococcus aureus was only 18 marks compared to Pulsatilla 23 or something. But all the things, in front of us, since she took for half an hour, she became breathless. So she said with cough, she's breathless. So the breathlessness, the urine problem, this injustice, the mind, and the cough. And cough on soon as she lies down, not only Drosera, Staphylococcus aureus also had it. So we are quite hopeful. Anyway, that was just an aside. Sorry, I like telling stories. Yeah, you must forgive me for that. So this is that girl. We'll just go back because I digressed. So she had a heart problem, irregular heartbeat. 15 minutes she walked. She had to take rest for 1 hour. Cough so hard like a wound because she's got wound inside her. Congestive headaches. She gets tense, yet she wants a challenge in her life. Now look at this girl, huh? Look at her. They escaped from Germany. Now, unfortunately, we don't meet any of these. All their cases contain this World War II in Germany. We don't have so many such cases, but we can translate it into something else, like from Pakistan or somebody like that. Anyway, so she escaped with her family from Germany. They hid in the barn. They were cold and wet and starving for weeks. See the food thing come. Not enough food, yeah. Till they migrated finally to UK. She feared for her life, and this today also continued, that survival and anxiety. Recently, then they got a house and lived there for many years. But recently, the government took over this land. They fought this for years. Government is criminal. Yeah. But they ended without the compensation and without the property. We felt so powerless without any asset. They've come to UK, finally managed to get some house, which was taken away. And she says, my anger is deep, deep and terrible. And she cannot forgive. That is the whole thing. That the anger is there and she cannot forgive. And she says, I'd like to blow up the government. So she's constantly having legal battles. When she moved to this current house, she did not leave it for 3 months. So scared that she'd be thrown out. And now she said that neighbor is watching her every move. So she's in a litigious battle with that neighbor. She even wrote him threatening letters. So lot of mistrust, as I told you earlier, lot of mistrust. We've seen the food issue, not enough to eat, not enough trust in anybody. She wrote that neighbor threatening letters. Even in her restaurant, which she owns, she once threatened a man with a meat mallet. She almost could have killed him. So the rubrics are, and actually they are rubrics, and I worked them out for you, so I'll show it to you. Fear of poverty, delusion away from home, because they've left that home. Even this UK home they had to leave. Delusion that she's washed, she threatens to kill, head pain congestive, and red face with headache. So here is the working, and you can't believe it. The first remedy which comes up and the highest is melilotus. So today we are going to learn this melilotus, and I'm sure it's going to be the most useful remedy. We have already thought of one patient in US who we are going to give it to. He has bipolar, and he also always feels that, right, Fatima? That he feels that
Yes, ma'am.
yeah,
Police is catching him and somebody is watching him.
yes, that watching him comes back from work and just goes to his room and locks it. So yeah, and he doesn't stay at a job long. So many things. So we're going to use this remedy for him, explore it and then use it. Yeah. So imagine they coming in your repertory. It is so really gratifying, because how do you reach a remedy? Okay, it's all very well to say PEM and you do the inner, you first do the inner age and do the column and do the kingdom and then come, but it's not so easy. Repertory is still, a factual thing. So yeah. So Melilotus was given, and no heart problem, no headache, and no wish to battle anymore. It's amazing, really. So the relevant issues in this case of Melilotus was the congestive theme, the psychiatric theme, this mistrust and all, scattered, living in Germany, now the UK, now not in the South. So everybody is scattered. Here too, government took the hand. So that is the split. Family also split. So they were united and now they are separated. That is the main theme of the P family. The P is in a pod, and there are those, and once you take it out, they can never be put together again. So legumes are peas in a pod, they split open. There's one carpel, splitting. And if you want to see all of that, you can read that schema book by Rajan, as I told you. Okay. So, second case. 35 years, she's not 35 years old. She's been on antidepressants from 35 years. And she speaks so softly you cannot hear. There's a lot of fear. As at a young age, you're sexually abused by brother, which was encouraged by the mother. This is like really the worst that can happen, okay? So no safety at home and no one to trust. So obviously, it will build up to mistrust. So she's seen a lot of deaths and horrors in life. They lived in a large family, so there was not enough food. So again, the issue of not enough food. So no food, no money, no safety. Hunted for food on the streets. And I do not know the story, so I cannot tell you, but mother and sister would wear masks to scare her on purpose. Why should a family be so terrible to one child? So she lived her life as if she was under siege, right? Under siege. She's going to be attacked any time. And she lived like a secret life. So anything, she doesn't want anything. You want, when the siege, you can escape. You want to go with the minimal things, right? So not carry, oh, let's see what else I can take. I have no time. I have to vacate in a second and a minute and 10 minutes. So she burns everything she does not need and she lives a secret life. So after this brother abuse, everybody has now become a potential enemy. She feels scattered from the family. Melilotus has so much delusion, as if neighbors are watching, very sensitive. When a lady she has a lady homeopath, and she says, I'm going to travel, then she feels, oh God, it's like my mother's leaving and I'll be exposed to danger. The issues are separated from family, abuse, food issues, poverty issues, and so many psychological issues, and Melilotus helped. So a little bit about Melilotus. See, most legumes live in symbiosis with the root fungi, okay? So there is a strong nitrate element here. So we have to see nitrate. In the earlier one also we saw, in the earlier row also nitrate. So the way legumes fix and tie this atmospheric nitrogen to their roots in a nitric acid way. So nitric acid we know is very angry, very abusive, very syphilitic. So like that, they are explosive and engage in litigation. We saw that girl constantly in litigation with the neighbor. So on the one hand, we have explosive, on the other, we have congestion. So reflecting the theme of nurture by another. I saw a nice movie, Daughter from Another Mother. So it's something like that. Okay. And you see that movie. I'm not going to tell you all about it. Legumes have high protein and are very nutritious. So again, represent the order's theme and tendency to digestive symptoms and problems. Okay. So you have head, heart, digestion, ears, congestion, red face. So being in the second row brings about this fundamental basic distrust and insecurity. And thus you have the miserliness because you're always not knowing where your money is coming from. So because of the fear of poverty, you're very, very miserly and never spend. Loss of property and not having enough food. The other side is anorexia. We already said this. Self-fulfilling prophecy, not having enough food. And so responding to this in a syphilitic way. This is right in the top of the column. As we go down, the syphilitic aspect, we'll see it strengthens, becomes worse. So in the first stage, they are very sweet and shy and timid, desires to hide like Baraita. And it's the same row, not like Baraita. Baraita is in the periodic table in the mineral kingdom and in the 6th row. But still it is right in the womb stage, right? Right in the beginning. So it is the same location. Over there, here rows are this way and the columns are this way. Over there, the rows are that way and the columns are this way in mineral kingdom. So problems are in learning and thinking. With so much of congestion and confusion, you cannot do this. They have fear. So all the time whispering, they hide. They fear speaking aloud, and later on that becomes like paranoia. If people hear me, I would be in danger. So if I've not seen or not heard, I won't be in danger. So they want to protect themselves. They feel somebody is watching them all the time. So rubric is delusion what she is being and followed as if to harm her. So mistrust again, difficult to trust. So in the last stage, you have paranoia, bipolar, watched by even friends and families, even from newspapers. So magazine, they take out the eyes, cut it off from pictures. They think those eyes are only watching them. Feels mesmerized and suspicious. So all our cases of OCD, bipolar, schizophrenia, some of this thing we'll have to think, and I think it's going to be a remedy very useful for us. Does not recognize friends, and if people get too close to them, they are worse. They are approached, so the rubric is approached by persons aggravate. Fear of being poisoned, of danger, of persecution, of running away, hiding as if the world is a dangerous place. And finally, they have sleeplessness, okay? So fear of police is because police is force, not masculine force. So they will arrest him and then he gets violent, enraged, and things like government is evil and has to like to blow up the government. All these things we have seen. We can just remember the rubrics in our cases and the symptoms in our cases, then we'll know the remedy. So feels threatened, clenches the fist, and red face while angry, red face while coughing. So red congestion is there everywhere. So Vitulka says it's like a time bomb ticking, so angry can blow up anytime. Fear storms because there's something bad coming. Dreams like mafias chasing me, will kill me. And they strike to the point of desire to kill. We saw in that first patient, she attacked her own client with a meat mallet. So fear of being arrested. So police again. Mania after grief, which can lead to insanity. And religious affection, because when you have nothing to turn to, you turn to God and then become too much. So read Bible whole day can come into this column. Cry for help, turning to God for help, and often have desire to kill and all. Either you feel guilt and whatever and you want help, so you turn to religion, and then Religion also becomes obsession, and so you can have religious mania. Now, Rosenberg explains logically. This is the over mental masculine quality of the fifth column. They repress and suppress their anger because they know it is wrong. This suppression creates congestion. And then it leads to depression and persecution and all the fears that we discussed. Congestion can be released. We've seen that in earlier remedies of the row 1 through loquacity or by dry cough. And we saw this in that bleeding also in the previous row. Bleeding also is a release of congestion. So the cough is very hard, distressing and smothering. So when we get such a cough, we have to think maybe it is, this column. Because very easily congested, red and raging. If there is no outlet, then the pathology increases. At the physical level, you have increased pressure in the brain, tension building up and up and up, so congestion. And then when you have so much tension building, you cannot sleep and have sleeplessness, headache with red face, bleeding from the nose, which is actually helps. So we may have used Mary Lotus. I used many years ago, I remember 30 years ago, when a person had a lot of bleeding from the nose, which he used to feel better. Congestion is so significant. Vitruka says if you have a pale face, then this remedy, this whole group is not full. So better by bleeding, better by urination. And congestion is really the sense of persecution, like in the tubercular miasm. So this can be a part of that kind of a thing to existential insecurity, says Levy. So a lot of people we've never heard of, Levy, Jenny, Tree, so many, Rosenthal, So that was Mary Lotus, but I thought this one case was really very significant. So I'm doing this also with you. So a Hasidic Jew man, religious man, married with 5 children. And very early in the history, he talks about the importance of good morals. So when he started on, he said about good morals. And his wife had brought him for treatment saying, I can't live with his temper tantrums anymore. She fears he'll do harm to their children. So it's very strange. He's come and talks about good morals. So apparently his parents were very strict and very moralistic. We'll come to it. So he's impatient. There's no patience for anything and is nervous wreck. He's so irritable that he's on edge. Road rage is maximum. Gets so angry that he gets out of control on the road. And they say road rage is the worst because if you have an accident, you can just die. These fellow Pant is lucky that somebody pulled him out. No, of course, that was not road rage. He just fell asleep. But these accidents are terrible. Grind the teeth and is so tense and irritable, he has difficulty falling asleep. So sleeplessness is a very important in this rubric. So can be a lot of use for us. Full of suspicion. And this, when you're suspicious, then it puts a great strain on the relationship with wife. Because she has to do things. There are 5 children, she has to go out, she has to talk to people. And if the husband is full of suspicion, you can't protect yourself and all the time give reasons and take blame. He swears and needs AC all the time. At age 30, he had lost his voice and also had thyroid. Now he says, I understand my temper tantrums are a problem. He grew up in a moralistic family, which was strict on behaving the right manner. He doesn't do it at all. My parents are very critical of me. Never have I felt the taste of success. So when your parents are not, of course, he behaved like that, but maybe he behaved when you too much you pull one side, then the person goes to the other side. So I never felt the taste of success. And so till today, I'm never satisfied with my work and my achievements. Would like to develop and learn. But I put myself down. I constantly criticize myself when I feel inferior. But still he has this anger and this temper tantrum and this road rage. Maybe it's a way of taking out, as we say. So he feels people are watching me. I'm a social idiot. My boss is stepping on me, or my boss is always watching me, and thinks I'm not projecting that dignity, and therefore people treat me like. Dreams of self-punishment, silly mistakes, being chased. Again, you have police and persecution. Then he fears being late and not on time. He also fears the police, and he feels that he has a knot in the chest. So the chest, either a load or a knot or severe congestion, or so breathless that he has to take rest for 1 hour. And very stingy. So he won't give family any money for Sabbath. Sabbath is a big festival, to buy extra things because he is so scared of poverty. So the level of anger and rage after the remedy decreased greatly. The wife reports that the house is much more relaxed. He is able to manage and keep his diet and even lose some weight. That tightness in the chest disappeared. He sleeps better, more at ease. And he himself feels that things in general are going better for him because he felt he was a failure, not that he didn't count his achievements at all. So this is as good a follow-up as you can get. So we have done 3 cases, which has already made the picture quite clear of this whole group. It's not only Melilotus, but Melilotus seems to be the epitome of this kind of a behavior, where you have not enough food, large family, so not enough to eat, so not enough money, and so fear of poverty. And then when you're poor, you always suspect other people are out to harm you, and you become poor, or all this state you're in because of some bad influence or evil eye or whatever. So people are watching you. And then even from the newspaper, you terrify because you all the time watch. And you have this rage and congestion inside which you want to remove. So we are now going to do the generals. Normally we do the family first, but now from the cases you already have an idea. So I think this way maybe it will become even clearer than learning just the theory of the family and then doing the cases. Yes? So common pure bean family is large, agriculturally very important for flowering plants. Includes trees, perennial or annual, and a lot of them are recognized for their fruit and their things. It's the 3rd largest land family, only behind, or I don't know if they're behind. I would think, in my experience, it is the largest. So, yeah, it has cereals and fruits and roots. It become very staple food. And some of these remedies, which I've never heard of, I thought I should live. So soya bean is called glycine. Beans are called phaseolus and pism. There is another remedy. And there's a remedy from broom, which is Cystisus sopareus. And there is robina, which is from the black locust. So I'm just some names which you've not probably heard of. I thought I should. So the pot structure is likewise means home, right? And family type. And if you break up and put it out, so I had a patient many years ago. I didn't know this remedy then, but I still managed to make him well. And even now, I got a patient, that other patient I told you want to use Melilotus for, have been sent by them from US. So patients say large family, and due to circumstances, all are scattered and family ties broken. So low-lying herbs, and very few of them are trees, most of them are low-lying, and some have dyes like this, and they use them fabrics. It's composed of many families with a characteristic longish pod structure encasing seeds in a single row. So home and family ties. The flowers are entirely different for each family. So the themes of fables are existential insecurity, right from existence, okay? So other person is perceived as threatening, dangerous, oppressive. So there is a lot of issue of dominance versus submission. They like to hide, so sometimes they submit like variety. A sense of threat then may eventually turn into full-blown paranoia. Okay, in paranoia, you never leave the house at all. So when that first patient didn't leave for 3 months, it would be the beginning of this. If she had not received the medicine, she may have gone into full-blown paranoia. So strong the senses of being oppressed and of dominance. Sense of threat and finally submission leads to mental and physical pathology. So they are insecure, they are oppressed, masculine dominance, father, or in that first case, neighbor. Patient is insecure. The oppression, threat, and feeling of danger are due to the nitrogen. Remember, we talked about the root fungi and atmospheric nitrogen and having the nitric acid traits of blowing up and anger. So baby in labor, suffocation. So roots of legumes in symbiosis with fungi. And nitric acid like cannot forgive. You remember that case? Here, the first case we did just now, that she cannot forgive neither the government or the neighbor. Very oppressed, very irritable. Physically, we already know about the congestion, redness, and hardening and atherosclerosis. This congestion may be part of the toxic state of the physical body or emotional life. The feeling that the whole world is after them and it's unsafe to go out. Whenever we are studying a remedy, we think of an old case, or in this case, I think of a case of my mother's. That lady never left the house, and I don't think we ever managed to cure her because we didn't know this remedy at all. Need the family, but it is unstable, which creates internal distress. Because they were together and they like to be together, but they are splintered and fragmented, scattered and split, and they no longer can come together again. So Shankaran mentions an example of a property of a father. He has 3 sons and 3 daughters, all live in the family. And now the first sister, she says that I have 2 children and I'm not very well off. I want my share, and the brother also wanted his share. And patient who is leguminous, is very sad. Father decides to divide the property. So it can be either that the property, the family is divided and all that, or it can be business is spoiled because of partner's problem or divorce. So any of the thing which separates, okay? It's a very nice picture. And if we put it all together like a jigsaw puzzle, then we'll be safe. Yeah, and we can give millilotus. So split is anywhere. Home, business, colleges, bomb, blast, all scattered peanuts. Yeah. Splitting. So she's shown it so well with the root splitting. Coming apart, fragmented, scattered, and bound together. They want to be bound together. Divided, cut off, pull off. We talked earlier about in the Rosel's family about roses being cut off, right? Here it is not together, divided, apart, disconnected. So patient can use any of these words: unconnected, loose, looseness, pieces apart, disjointed. And the other side is tethered, bound. If they are bound also, there is stress, right? Bandaging, binding, attachment, detachment, not connected, not together, or together. So the poem, about Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a big fall, and not anybody could put it together again. So peas, we cannot put it in a pot together again, except maybe with the homeopathic remedy. But with Humpty Dumpty, we can't do that. Okay. So that was existential insecurity. Now we have psychiatric illnesses, easy descent into extreme mental states, The mental emotional framework of one disintegrating under combined forces of suppressed powerful emotions, mental weakness, existential insecurity, and the sense of isolation and alienation. Due to the split, whatever can happen. So we really don't need to remember so much. All we need to remember is what is the thing? Congestion. Everything gets stressed. Inside, redness, split, the pea pod. So once it's split, cannot be put together again. So on the family structure which one could previously rely on breaks down. Then whether it is the brother who abuses sexually or the the mother and sisters you break down. Okay. So anything which results from breaking down, and mental illness can easily often does result due to the breakdown. Legumes can be opened very easily with hand. Don't need even a knife. So you can understand how easy it is to break them. At least if you have to go and get a knife, the knife has to be sharp. You have to use your hand and cut it. Nothing, pick it up, break it. So it is not enough strength. So it comes at 0 to 1 years, easily broken down by circumstances. So everything is mother and father for them, and they weep very easily. So anything which happens at that time is really, you can never put it together again. I mean, just like the Humpty Dumpty, can never be put together. Complete dependency on the parents, the symbiotic relationship, like, they need it. They need unity. They need this bonding. The C in the general things of Fables, existing without external nature, anxiety due to breakdown of the family structure, and increasing sense of isolation. When the family is not with you, you can feel just alone in this whole big wide world, and therefore this whole big wide world is cruel and about to attack. So at that stage is when you need, and therefore row 1, row 2 are such important thing for general, because whatever happens in that stage remains with you for life. If you get hurt at a older, age like us, about it and you just get on. But at that stage, that will remain. That person told you, it remains for life. I never felt secure. So that is when they need a guidance. Will I be able to exist without the other? The previous columns, I was talking about column 1, 2, 3, 4. Till 4, we know it was all mother oriented. From the 5th, the father comes and the split, and that is where all the problems start. And 6th, for the full father. So the previous column, the individual part of the collective, it was all one. When you're with the mother, you're all one. But here you are all dividing. Now the time has come to dissociate from the protective, to separate, to achieve independence, and finally to go into being a truly autonomous, self-dependent being. So anxiety is always due to breakdown of the family structure. The challenge has to be met by renouncing family support, which has become oppressive already by the end of the previous column. So separate, achieve independence, and think that I can do it on my own. I don't need anybody. And then step back into a relationship with the other. And if the other betrays you, you're sunk. Your parents betrayed you, your other betrays you. Then you go to Rosidea and keep dreaming of this soulmate. So this time, you want to be a self-determined being. Normally, the individual is then vulnerable to any instability in the family. Baptisia, which is a remedy we very well know, it comes for fevers and typhoid. But again, that feeling of being scattered. Yeah. Physically, the theme is reflected in the digestive, responsible for assimilating food. You don't have enough food, but you have to assimilate. And then only can you survive, basically. So I like this picture. Yeah, nice, spleen, heart, pancreas. Forceful initial vigor, followed by loss of momentum, and then eventually we saw Lathyrus is the last, syphilitic, weakness, paralysis, paralysis. Yeah? So column 5 is the separation from the nurturing feminine and establishing the independent ego through the masculine action. So mother goes away, they're left, and they cry, but then they will stand on their feet. The eagle even puts in the thing lots of pebbles and sharp stones so that they already get used to being hurt right when they are born. So this masculine action is associated with the limbs. No? To go out, be independent, to work requires limbs. So, and therefore we said limbs and joints are affected if these conditions of being secure is not met. Because this is still an early stage, it's a powerless infant, one is still unprepared to act in the world and attain independence. Poor fellow, they're all alone. Instead of the desired income, there will be passivity, lack of assertiveness, and childishness on emotional level. Or then can come paralytic disease like myasthenia. We all know remedy physostigmate. Actually, when you look at the list, you say, oh God, I know only few remedies. Or you may feel happy, at least I know a few remedies. Yeah. But we use them so little, right? Now we'll use them in a much wider way. So a lot of paralysis. First, they look sturdy. And later when the split happens, then you have muscular dystrophy. The feathers begin any process with great vigor. Yeah. Say, I'm full. And then industry, naive optimism. But when they have a slight difficulty or challenge, then they lose their strength and whimper and get paralyzed. So weakness and paralysis either due to muscles or nerves. The physical expression is weakness, impotence, paralysis due to muscle or nerve pathology, mainly affecting the limbs and the eyes, which represent the inability to exert one's will. Since willpower comes before the muscular motion, so will is affected first, and then that, of course, every time we know with all these kind of problems we discussed, the mind also gets affected first. And there is that unreadiness to enter this world because it looks so big and so unmanageable and so, well, how will I make my place? How will I find the other? How will I do my work? How will I succeed? So many of the remedies have aversion to work, and that work is impossible. Weakness, impotence, because the transition is from the feminine to masculine. Yeah. So he is actually like that, and he thinks of him like that, or is actually like that strong, but he thinks of him as weak. Like that patient we saw in the third case, where he felt he had no, good things to say about himself and all his achievements. Masculine just began acting, so characterized by childishness and impotence, with fear of authority, weakness. Therefore, it'll always be the boss or the teacher or the father who are, affecting them. Fear of authority, weakness, inhibition, and lack of initiative. They can't work because to begin requires a lot of strength. It's called the law of inertia, right? First motion is always the most difficult, and it is embodied by Rostock, which is not here. Difficult to meet challenges and an advanced fear of failure. So if you think you cannot do it, then your chances of doing it itself decrease. Even if you start off with some hope and then you get a little bit setback and you sit down. Initial attempt to act, but there's so much insecurity that weariness and despair follow. At the same time, the feminine has completed now its mission. It is weakens and it dries up. So you have deficient breast milk production. Your remedies for that can come in from this group, first and second row. Baptisia, you have an abortion or emotional instability and depression. Things which you may not have known about baptisia. So F, there is despondency, sadness, emotional congestion, feeling blue, and the heart. In column 5, which we saw in column 3, anyway, we haven't done it, but the heart again emerges as a prominent center of pathology. Yeah, the emotions are suppressed, yet because due to the early stage, it is in a congested way. This is expressed both psychologically and physically with sadness. So this feeling of blue, though the face is red. Depression. So you have this remedies coming, copaiba, indigo, melilota, robina, and so on. There is also post-nasal blues, yeah, depression, and too little emotional expression. Your feminine is going, so you can't express, you can't be open and love everyone like the mother does. Now you have to be much more suppressed. These depressive feelings have no place in the masculine mode of action, and they are suppressed again. Because I am a man, I can't cry, I can't be depressed, I have to go out, conquer the world. And therefore, they affect the lung and heart through pathologies, asthma to serious heart problems. So, congestion. We see it all the time, right? But we are all not congested because we in Indian find lots of ways of getting rid of our congestion, mainly by talking. Yeah. So congestion is the key feature. The masculine principle with authoritativeness and hierarchy. Tendency suppress the feminine flow of the life. So you have congestion, scattering, dissipation, stoppage of the feminine flow due to increasing stiffness. The feminine flow is stopping. The dryness and lack of flow exacerbates the stuckness and congestion of both mind and body. The arterial congestion and the red face, as we saw in melilotus. Physiologically, the congestion is dissipated from diarrhea or from bleeding. So discharge is any discharge, talking, ear discharge, cough, expectoration, diarrhea, hemorrhage, bleeding, all this release the congestion. So dull, scattered, concentration is difficult, obsessive thoughts and loquacity, inadequate mental function. No spine. So time for universal backbone checks. No backbone for the ego. Here it is expressed as scattered. And trying. Hello? Where did it go? No backbone for the ego. So no backbone, I said, and it just jumped so many slides. Express here as scattered and try to establish the mind at the seat of consciousness. This overtaxes the masculine left brain, and therefore most of the remedies of the Fibbles group have dullness, poor concentration, lack of focus, even obsessive thoughts or OCD, and then shrinking or rattling of the brain. So loquacity is to release the congestion. All of us should start talking more, yeah? Then we'll probably be not so congested. Easily discouraged, trying, feeling insecure, and quickly giving up. In conclusion, the fabulous dynamic is as follows. Emotions are suppressed, depressed, and denial, leading to sadness and congestion. The blues or the reds, as we saw, followed by. And this is effeminate. So this person we've seen, it is due to any form of discharge, natural or otherwise. So diarrhea also is caused, lucacity, hemorrhage, and food absorption pathology, ultimately leading to weakness, paralysis, inability to stand when one needs. Inability of family relation, and because of the family breaking up, dissolution, is frequently the driving force here. So legumes are poor man's meat. They're the source of protein when conditions are dry and there's no money. We have already seen the theme of poverty 3 months. Fear of not having enough to fill one's physical and emotional need, like Sorainam. Life is hard and dry. There are no thrills. There's just work and no play. Makes Jack a dull boy. So here we see really that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. No concentration, no pleasure. So patients who need Fabaceae can feel powerless. They tend to overexert themselves because they have to work harder. They become then even drier, humorless, disappointed, and critical. Overwhelming fatigue is the main symptom. Fatigue due to also inability to digest certain amino acids. Many in the family have strange amino acids in them, and when they are not digested and metabolized, then problems arise. So you have carnitine, an acid that has beneficial effect on ME, which is myalgia and encephalic syndrome. This fatigue is not physical and mental. Physically, it causes real paralysis, multiple sclerosis, polio, and so on, epilepsy. Useful remedies are physostigma and revive. So, being dependent, scattered, splitting, mainly seen as dullness and confusion, inability to concentrate. So when your focus is not there, he can't concentrate, he never gets good marks. And then opposite to this, you have the desire for pleasure, to enjoy life without the burden of difficulty. I have a patient who likes to play and doesn't want to really study. So you have to think of this and also think of this strong connection of nitrogen, which you've already seen. So in that, the legume, which was called Linder Blobingen, wanted to enjoy and there was no scope to enjoy. The wood split, scattered, and this reflects this flight from drudgery of life. One becomes scatterbrained or feather-brained. So you see how words are used. The split is reflected, the butterfly flowers in seeds which have 2 halves. Dizziness and vertigo is also there, as if drunk. Okay, the feeling is there. We saw that other case also. Worse in the morning, desire, aversion to fat, bacon, cheese, and protein, aggravated the same beans which they are made of. Theme of being teacher, teacher who teaches. So manganum, they compare it to manganum, which is in the mineral kingdom in the 4th row, another remedy for exhaustion. Many Fabaceae contain lot of manganum, reflected in desire to help and to work together. Perfection is also a strong theme, like iron. The manganum belongs to iron series, 4th row. Want to do things very well, and this can lead to even more exhaustion. Too much perfection, everything must be just so. Weak. So 5th subclass and mineral 4th row themes are the same. Manganum also works well on mental strength. So they want too much perfection. Every portrait has to be just so. So Naxomica is one we know, arsenic, but they all belong to the 6th column. Not arsenic, Naxomic. Arsenic belongs to the 4th row again. So it can lead at the end of the week to too much weakness and I cannot focus. Many of these remedies useful in chronic fatigue as after some big diseases like mononucleosis, etc. So deprivation is a big theme. We saw food, money, work, other, family, so on. And they are the causative factors. Baptisia is useful in high septic conditions, having to live under very harsh conditions. Yeah. So tosses in bed trying to get parts together. So what are the various remedies with the miasms? Acute is melilotus, sudden split, ringworm is chryser, tubercular is balsamum peru. Again, very, very nice remedy. I think it'll be very useful for us. Race against time. The leprous miasm is Ketzel. Psychosis is Copaiva. Again, nice remedy. Typhoid baptisia, which we know. Cancer physostigma, which also we've been using. And syphilis with that paralysis, Lapteris. Hard work and no life. So we have done a lot of general theme. We have done melilotus as a remedy, which is very, very important. And we've done 3 cases on them. In fact, we'll bring in some more live cases in melilotus when we find them. But today we are going to do one more live case. And we have doctor here, Kushala. She's an old friend of ours. And she's going to do a case with you. It's from another remedy. Yes. So I will stop sharing. Kushala will start sharing. So I'm very happy to have all of you here. And I want 1 minute if anybody wants to say anything about what we've done so far. This is our 10th session, really. So yeah, anybody wants to?
Ma'am, what about Rubinia? Doesn't it come in Fables?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay. Because it was not mentioned in any of the miasms.
Yeah. Because miasm has only those 6 remedies I mentioned. It has 45 remedies. I don't think anybody has done the work on miasms and them. This is Shankaran's I took. Only the 6 remedies, 9 remedies are there. Yeah. In the 111 each miasm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything? Before Kushala starts on her case of a remedy, which most of us have not heard of. Okay. Kushala.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in a lecture. I'll call you back.
Is the screen clear, please?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the first place, good evening to all, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity to share a case.
And share and learn, yeah.
Yes, share as well as learn. True. So this lady, Mrs. N, she's 50. This particular remedy I caught in one of her follow-ups. It was for a long time. I was treating her asthmatic bronchitis with CPR, 1 mg infrequent doses, and she was doing fairly well. Her family size is that her husband is 55. He's a freelance consultant. He's an engineer. She has a son, 18, who was studying diploma. And her mother-in-law, who's 70, she moved in with them after her husband demised around 6 months ago. Patient used to live with the mother-in-law for a short time in the early years of her marriage, but later on they were independent. Now, this particular patient is a working woman. She's very independent, and she's typically, career-minded, not so much of a housewife as much as she's a good working woman.
So we can immediately think of the 5th subclass, yeah.
Yes, I mean, this is where the 5th subclass already comes in the picture. So she came to me saying, see, I want to talk to you. There are a lot of adjustment issues which I'm having with my mother-in-law coming in to live with us. And this, she has been with us all this while. this elder person coming in, she keeps an eye on us, and you have to defend yourself. And she too is all the time defending herself. Small issues blows into a life and death situation. I don't want to stay on guard like this all the time. She's constantly on watch as to what we husband and wife are doing and will comment, gulu gulu bolu naka. If something happens at home, then she'll start ringing up all her relatives and friends and she'll discuss on that issue. She cannot contain her anger.
What is gulu gulu?
I mean, she's saying, I mean, don't gossip in your ears, you know, gulu gulu bolu naka.
Whisper to each other.
Whisper to each other on your ears. I mean, this is the way she'll comment. If the husband and wife are talking in the bedroom about anything, then she'll come all the way to the bedroom and tell gulu gulu bolu naka. You know, if you want to talk, talk loudly. Don't talk into each other in whispers. So
Gulu Gulu means Kushala. Gulu Gulu means sweet talking between husband and wife. They talk na
yeah,
that type
Having
of talk.
told she doesn't want love anywhere except with her.
That type of
Huh.
Gulu Gulu.
And
Sweet talk.
yeah, it's not only for her, yeah, it could be actual meaning sweet talk, but the way my patient put it across, like, you know, she doesn't want that anything should be in the bedroom, like everything you want to talk it in the open. So she says, I feel hurt with all her blabbering. Just because you have a tongue, you can't just keep on talking like
She doesn't know. Fifth subclass says talk, get rid of the congestion. Okay.
So she was angry on us that day. The maid came and she got a chance to start. She does not want solution. She'll just go on cribbing. Her indecisiveness and calling people creates commotion at home. There's a problem at home and she'll immediately start putting phone calls to her daughter and her son and her relatives and her friends, and she'll start discussing on that issue. An ant situation becomes an elephant. There are no peaceful days for us. Something hovering on me all the time. She has guilt, fear, and she'll keep cribbing about it. She creates a situation and will crib on it. And she'll make a victim story to the whole world about herself. Like she is the victim and we are all villains. That way she'll make the story sound such. She's not able to take decision and bring a full stop in a situation. And we keep reacting. Now this patient is staying with her after so many years that now the situation she doesn't know how to handle. So she'll go on reacting. If we support her, then she'll take it in another way. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Bole.
What happened?
Somebody's mic is on. Please put it off. Preeti, please put it off. Yeah.
Okay. So I have to be on guard whether she understands me or misunderstands me. Most of the time, my husband and mother-in-law are having arguments. I'm not at peace. I'll have to keep thinking, what is she thinking about me? Everyone has views. You don't please impose your views on him. I like to live free, find solution and get over it. Now, she has a masculine mind where, you know, this patient thinks, and she's a person who's herself very qualified and her job profile finds creative solutions. I mean, she finds solution to problem. And here she's not able to, so she's all the time reacting. Discussion goes on for days together. I try analyzing and thinking about it. I'm constantly thinking, if I do this, what will she think? I'm on guard. If I do this thing, action, she might interpret in this way. She'll tell all things, but she will not answer your question. If she's angry, she will react very badly. If I tell her I'm going out, she will say, why are you telling me? No need to tell me you're going out. I know she will react, but I have to tell her. And if I don't tell her, she will say, you're being so disrespectful. You're not even telling me.
At all. You can't win.
Yes. So both ways, you know, she creates a situation where this patient feels that I'm not living freely now. I'm a person who likes to be relaxed because of my reactions, my tone also must be changing. I'm not telling all the things fully. Like she's very, blunt, and she's very open type of a person who will talk her mind. But here, like, she cannot even tell fully because she doesn't know what reaction she'll get from her mother-in-law. I'm not true to her. I don't tell her things fully of what I'm thinking. What will they say? What will they think? This is what is going on in my mind. We are not at home at all. Even in the house, it's like, you're not in the house. You're all the time tensed and on guard as to what is going to happen and what reactions are going to come. Even in office, I'm not on guard. I have a lot of ideas and I execute it. I'm not ambitious or competitive, but she's a career-minded woman who finds a solution. We are as hurt as her, but we analyze it and she doesn't. There's a constant fear. Now, what will happen, sorts? There are positive points too with her coming in to live with us. There's a lot of food and proper meals. Husband and me are also conversing more with each other. He is not able to handle her. And in son, I can see a matured side in him. He is able to handle her very well. This child has, lived with her more often, even in the days when they have been separate. So he has sort of, he is very frank and, he treats her like a friend and he says his mind out. So they two sort of, they have an equation where he has been able to adjust to her. Even in my mom's place, I was never guarded. I would say what I want and go ahead. When situation is like this, you just have to get a solution, move, apply it and go ahead. It's not like this again and again and again. You're discussing the same thing. There's no full stop to the situation. I feel irritated. I don't feel at ease. I'm thinking constantly how she will react, what she will think, and that goes on and on in my mind. And when she's not around, I will tell my husband, but why should that be? This is family. We should be discussing with each other, not like this, like talking behind each other's back and, as to how to handle this. I'm on guard. She doesn't trust easily. She doesn't trust us only. I don't like diplomacy. You tell on face. She will take my son aside and she'll ask him and discuss our home issues with four people on phone. It's not peaceful. I keep thinking on these things. I asked, she has used this on guard, on guard. Practically every paragraph or every sentence has on guard. So I said, what is this on guard? I asked her. I'm protecting myself and her also from getting hurt. It is difficult. What I think, I say, I get a reaction and the matter is over and done. With her, it doesn't happen. It goes into a vicious circle of many discussions with many people. So then I asked her, what in nature has to be on guard? She said, most of the animals will be on guard, maybe prey animals, or touch me not plants. Now, I find this case was more of sensitive issues, which she was, her sensitivity was getting very enhanced. I said, what about it? Plants have open leaves, never covered. When you touch it, it covers itself to protect itself against the disturbance, against this commotion. So maybe I'm protecting myself by not listening, by trying to explain, or chodo, bola to problem, nahi bola to bhi problem. So I get indifferent. Any plant never changes. She went directly to the source. I mean, this is where I learned this remedy through her case, where she went into the source in the case taking. Any plant never changes its nature. But Chui Mui, touch me not plant changes. When there's a disturbance, they fold itself for protection. When I say I am on guard, it means I change my words. I don't convey all the things I want to convey. I protect her and I don't want arguments. So I protect myself. Whole home situation is at peace then. I don't want disturbance. I'm hurting, so I'm not handling properly. Usually, when you're hurt, you don't handle properly. I always feel the need to handle situations differently. Son is handling well. I know this situation. I have lived with her before too. I learned to handle my husband differently whenever he was angry. I stayed calm and later told him, I should know how to handle her. I can only do it when I personally don't get hurt. When husband hurt me, I could go beyond my hurt and handle him. I need to do with her also. She is not going to change. I should be able to go beyond my hurt feelings, my personal reactions. I should cross my own feelings of thinking whether I have hurt her or not. I should be able to tell her without myself not feeling hurt and thinking and brooding whether I will hurt her and she will feel bad or feel fear to tell her. So this, this was the case. So then I felt, ki, what is this? This widow mother-in-law coming into their lives almost after 20 years of them living as a nuclear family is creating havoc. Like they were one unit and now suddenly it's like everybody is, it is a havoc. Everything is sort of breaking apart in their lives. Feels extremely, humiliated sort of with her constant cribbing and speaking on phone their personal matters to relatives and friends. Now this situation is beyond her handling and she's constantly in tension, on guard, thinking, brooding what to say, how to say, what mother-in-law will think and react, whether she will hurt her. She too feels very hurt with her behavior and she can't overcome herself to handle the situation, which normally, as a person, she's very down to earth in handling situations in office and home. She wants to be free and express herself freely, find solutions, and move on, rather than moving in circles on the same topic. It irritates her, but she cannot express out of fear of hurting her. She changes her version of what she has to say to maintain peace in the house. So this was the feel that I got in the entire case. And I saw, what is this touch me not, Mimosa pudica. Mimosa pudica 30, I gave her in one dose. See, these are the purple pink flowers. And the minute you touch the leaves, they all fold inside. It's like a protection. They whenever they are stimulated or whenever you touch it, they fold inwards into a fold. It's their protective mechanism. So Mimosa pudica, when I read in the British Journal, the potencies are prepared from the whole flowering plant. Mimosa pudica left is called the humble plant or the sensitive plant, is a small perennial shrub from the pea family or the Leguminosae. Mimosa pudica and Mimosa humilis, they are very sensitive and mimics. They make certain movements which mimic animal sensitivity. So the caves also had the dynamics where you could think, mother-in-law doing this to me and that to me. Is it an animal quality? So this aspect of the plant has that type of animal reaction also. The main interest of the sensitive mimosa is the extraordinary leaf movements are likened by some to animal reactions such as snake feigning death or animals fainting from fear. Usually it is the sensitivity to light, to time of the day, to gravity, or like the sundew drosera, which reacts to the contact of insects. Mimosa pudica reveals a remarkable reaction to rough touching. Remarkable reaction to rough touching. Its leaves fold up and collapse in a matter of seconds, then gradually in 10 minutes or so, regain their former shape. This drooping attitude, which they adopt when touched in night or in sleeping position. In the morning, the leaves unfold and open out again. The same turgor movements take place rapidly when the leaf is struck or when it is subjected to various chemical and electrical stimuli or to radiation. Dr. Wintrap explains combined movements of the leaflets and leaf stalk base due to an unknown stimulating hormone which causes certain sensitive cells to lose fluid rapidly into the intracellular spaces, thus losing turgidity and altering shape. It's like there is a Problem with the water metabolism, in the sense that when it gets any rough handling or any rough touch, immediately the water goes into the intracellular spaces and the leaves collapse on each other. The left-sidedness of the symptoms plus the yielding nature of the plant itself may point it to being a remedy for female. But what of the sensitive leaves by which mimosa attains so unique a position among plants? Grasp its inwardness. So the minute there is a rough touch, it goes inward. And this is what she was saying. The minute she gets, a problem with the mother-in-law, she just shuts down. She's on the guard. The phenomena of the turgor movement seem to be one of a chaos in the water metabolism, although all factors controlling it are not thoroughly understood. The response of the leaves to touch is like a reflex allergic reaction or perhaps a spinal reaction. So some notes which I picked up. Mimosa pudica, from Latin pudica, is a shy plant, bashful or shrinking, also called a sensitive plant, a sleepy plant. It's a touch-me-not or a shame plant. It's a creeping annual or perennial flowering plant of the pea or the legume family, Fabaceae. It's often grown for its curiosity value. The compound leaves fold inward and droop when touched or shaken. They are defending themselves. This is their defense from harm, and reopen a few minutes later. They close up after an initial injury and disappointment encountering the other. The disappointment brings a desire to isolate, a do not touch me attitude. At the same time, on the physical level, there's hypersensitivity manifested as an allergy. So she comes with a lot of allergic bronchitis, this congestion in her chest. They are offended easily. They repulse and annoyed even from the thought of taking medicine. Sensitive to light, shuts down at the first contact with the other, the outside world, and produces overprotection in contact with them. In the proving, she feels she has a large body. Delusion enlarged the body is. Just a slight uncomfortable touch and they shut down. So do the joints, which are painful from the slightest touch. So after giving her a dose of Mimosa pudica 30, December and Jan follow-up was, she said, I'm not feeling as disturbed as before. I'm doing my work. There has been no trigger factors too. My mother-in-law is peaceful too. She has cooled off. I too have cooled off. I keep away. Ultimately, it's his mom. Now that guard feeling is not there. Usually, I don't have much conversation with her. She'll talk of others or she'll talk of her health. Currently, I'm in a good state. I can't handle her, but forget it. I can handle myself. My reactions affect me. It's not worth it. I should handle myself. I'm calm. Then it was irritating me. Now I don't care. Forget it. It doesn't bother me so much. Then in Feb, she was emotionally better. Crib of mother-in-law is better in front of me, only with her husband and son, it goes on. Now I go to work, so I'm not there always at home. I'm not so much affected. Mother-in-law wants this and that, indecisive, small matter, she'll blow out of proportion. So I gave her Mimosa pudica 200 pound powder. In March to May, I again repeated whenever she had the chest congestion, I had repeated again Mimosa pudica. In June, she had a bad pain in her right breast. There was a lump, there was a cyst. It was throbbing, it was worse by touch. There was no discharge from the breast, no fever, no chills, no wheezing, no breathlessness. Her menses was on 2nd June. It was more than a week. She was worse before menses, better after. Emotionally, I'm not much of a trouble. In between, lot of things go on in office, lot of things to do. Evening, I switch off. When thought comes, I'm able to keep it off. I had a difficult time earlier. I could not come out earlier. Now I don't have that kind of issues. There are small stress, but not a big stress. So she gave, I repeated mimosa 200 powder. On 21st June, the lump in the breast subsided, the throbbing pain also subsided, the tightness in breast was also better. Mother-in-law issues go on, there are clashes, it increases my heart rate, shivering within, there is trembling of hands, somebody raises voice, argument goes on. Now I'm scared again, how will I shut her mouth? There's no end to the cribbing and arguments between mother and son. She purposely irritates me and instigates me. Now I give back. Previously, she was on guard, on guard, on guard. Now I give back, tit for tat. Though I'm trembling internally, the guard part is not like before. Now I'm stable, though I'm guarded. Earlier, I could not handle it. Fear of being guarded. Now I do it to protect myself. Little guard is still there. I can't be the free times. I'm able to respond to her like I do with my husband rather than react. She gossips. I don't like it. The irritation will remain. I know it. But I should be able to respond to her. So she has continued treatment with me, and I have on and off every time she got into a chest congestion, or every time her state came back where she was disturbed and very unstable and reacting, I would give her a dose of Mimosa pudica. Her general health has improved very well, and there is more peace in the house, or rather her mother-in-law also went to the second son's house to states, and she also keeps going here and there to meet the relatives. So some balance in the home peace has come as compared to before. So this was the case. Yeah, thank you so much.
Very, very nice case. Though, of course, case was led by the patient herself.
Yes.
The remedy. But yeah, if we can.
Dr. Kushala,
Yes.
how will you differentiate it from a mollusk? Because that's the first thing that came up to me.
See, as I said, when she spoke about the work area itself, you come to a Rosidea, because I know her, she was always a career, and she's less of a housewife and more of a career woman, and work is something. And as I told her, I was giving her CPR. So that masculine aspect of her is there. And she thinks more with a mind and a heart. But this was a disturbed state when the mother-in-law moved in, when the remedy came. And the sensitivity, like, you feel, is it an animal? Because she's talking about mother-in-law doing this to me and that to me. But then if you go down deep into the sensation, it's about, it's all about the sensitivity. I'm hurt with the way she is, it's like this home is not my home anymore. I'm not at peace in my home. And I feel hurt with her behavior. The sensitivity aspect in her was covered a lot. And she downright straight, her state was so high that she went into the sensation and the remedy. I mean, it's something which she went in very easily. And that's how I caught mimosa. This mimosa was my first prescription. And she did well also.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
But not, Rama, to answer your question, it's not so much the mollusk, because that stays inside. She's going out of the house rather than being in the house here.
This is in and out. Outside she's better, but inside the house is where all the issue is, which is the opposite actually of a mollusk.
Yeah.
Where the outside is horrible and inside is...
maybe she looked an office as a home. We don't know.
More than in and out, if you see the whole, her focus was on thinking and logic.
Videos on, please, Preeti?
Shall I stop share?
Yes. And she was not liking that emotionally she was caught up, no? So she wanted to go ahead. She wanted to think and work logically. That's why that continuous tussle was there, no? Hypersensitivity, what it is here, she was hypersensitive to her own emotions. It is not mother-in-law's emotions. But she herself was trying to have control over her emotions.
Yeah, too much control is
logical person. I want to think and go ahead in life. So she want to go there, like masculine pe focus hai bahut. But because she's up in an infant level, that much control has not come yet. That's
Hmm.
why emotion and thinking, going on to and fro.
But here she was very, very sensitive to what the mother-in-law
Yes, extremely sensitive,
was planted, was very good.
very clear. Yes.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Very nice.
The conflict
Thank you.
was in the masculine and the feminine.
Yes.
So it
Like I
was,
said.
yeah.
And the split between the two.
Yes.
Between the two. So, so we have done 2 remedies today. It's called the touch me not plant. At the slightest touch, it actually closes up for harmful insects, whether they are harmful insects or thoughts or injury, disappointment, all that. It is offends very easily. And even the thought of taking medicine annoys it. Very sensitive to light. And with the first contact with the other, it shuts down. So as we said, as Dr. Kushala said, delusion enlarged body is. Slight uncomfortable touch and shuts down. The joints are also slightest painful touch and it pains. Heat of the eyes, better closing them. Photophobia also with headache. Sensitive to all external impression. Concentration because of the congestion and the stress, difficult. But here she could manage to do, in this case, of course, managed to do her work, which was a savior. And many digestive system symptoms come from throat down to the stomach. So the rubric here is wrapping up aminorates. Again, whether it is wrapping up in being separate or, So it was a very good case. And I think that these 2 remedies can be useful to us, right? I think both the remedies have come out quite well. And especially in all cases of melilotus, of mental breakdowns and problems, we can think of it here also, where there's adjustment a problem or sensitivity the problem. And especially with our Indian situation of mother-in-law, daughter-in-law always having a problem, we can certainly think of it. I can think of lots of patients who say she constantly talks about our family thing to others, and that bothers me. Yeah. So it was very nice and good participation from the audience. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kushala, for coming in and
Thank you
being
so
there
much.
and sharing your case. Because
Thank
live
you.
cases, so many nuances come up when we see other people's reported cases. Then every nuance, you don't know why. Like in the first case, I kept wondering, I still keep wondering, why should your brother do it? Why should, brother, one thing, why should your sisters and mother encourage that or make you scared? For what reason? So those things don't become so clear. So life cases are very good. We try to include one case every time so that it can become. We had 2 live demonstrations, including my terminalia. Even
Fantastic, fantastic, fabulous, fabulous.
Yes, Arjuna Terminal was really, madam.
Yeah,
Amazing, amazing.
And
We'll never forget it. We will never forget it now.
We will never forget it. Yes.
and
Arnika
because
and then
for
Arjuna.
7 days, it wouldn't move. It's never happened before, that it never moved. It just was purple and purple and purple. And then suddenly it started becoming in 2 days, 3 days. Very good.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Kushala also, and Dr. Vishpala. Beautifully explained, fabulous. We won't forget
Thank
it now.
you.
Thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
yes,
Thank you, Dr. Kushala. It's very, very good. We are listening to you first time, at least I am.
Fantastic,
Really,
fantastic.
it's really too catchy, and we will welcome you anytime. We would love to do that.
Thank you for all the learning that I did today. It was a learning experience every time. Every group is a learning experience.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Kushala.
Ma'am, thank you so much. I'm very happy with Melly Lotus.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Notice we have to think. You can use it in so many patients. No, amazing.
Yes,
Yes.
you've opened up a whole world for us on Melly Lotus. Thank you. And
Thank
mimosa. And mimosa seems to be a very, very today's remedy, no? Working women and mother-in-law confrontations. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Fatima, for all the beautiful pictures.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Kushala, also.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you.
Point here
So sometimes it's taking us time to get the remedy. Oh, I have to tell you about another. I think I told you, no? I gave evening primrosa to a patient who can't sleep, even with taking this thing. Yeah, I told you. So 3 days she's sleeping at least. Yeah, let's hope.
Dr. Vishpala, shall I add one point here?
Please, please.
I admit one thing, like I knew only Melilotus alba. I never thought of Melilotus officinalis.
Yeah, but you know, they were saying that the yellow flowers and the white flowers
White flowers.
So they
Actually, Melilotus alba, whenever we read in Allen's keynotes, it gives a brief note where congestion, bleeding, headache, all these things. But when we open up officinalis, you get all sorts of mental symptoms. So that's a very great revelation. I felt very happy by seeing that.
Really, really happy. Even I was very happy with studying this again and again. And if I can do with one patient, can't think of any others, but I'm sure we'll come out with them.
Hereafter, I will be in search of Melilotus.
That's true. We also want these patients to become so well.
Whoever comes, I'll ask, do you want Melilotus officinalis?
Really funny.
Sir is so cute.
He's really the best.
He always has humor in everything.
He's
That
so
was-
sweet. Thank
that
you.
was- He's a Praveen for the people who didn't recognize him. But
Dr. Praveen is one of the most senior homeopaths and wonderful teacher and fantastic sense of humor. He's the Mr. Bean.
he
Thanks,
teaches
Rama.
with
Thanks
humor.
for your introduction, Rama. Thank you.
It's always fun to have him
This
on
you
stage.
preserve for 12th February. All the
Yes,
people
sir.
should
Yes,
join
sir.
there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Baroda.
sir.
We will.
अरे आप कौन नहीं जानते, आपको कौन नहीं जानते भाई.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं.
Yeah.
ठीक है. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everybody. Yeah.
Bye.
We had a good session today.
Thank you.
Thank you. So
Thank
we'll continue Fabius. Fabius is much more than those 9 remedies I mentioned. And going to be wonderful. And some 4-5 remedies are really striking and going to use more and more. So I think what we need to do is revise all the ones, all our notes of the previous 9 before coming here, so that it becomes embedded in us, because finally we forget, right? That is the whole thing.
But Ma, what I find after listening to 2 medicines, those 2 medicines are meant for this millennium.
Yeah.
Everyone is separation, everyone is mother, daughter-in-law, and so many things. Not only mother, daughter. These are 2 really medicine which on the surface, which every homeopath has to take care of the patient.
Correct. That was actually a pointer to why we started this group, because it is for this millennium. This problem of male-female has come now only so much, not in the last century, so much. In our mother's time, yes, my mother was also working, but the problems were not so widespread. And even today, I see so many of my friends are not working, but still we are seeing this problem coming up so much. So this is really going to be a good thing for us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
madam.
Thank you.
thank you,
Nice session.
madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Kushala.
Thank you,
Kushala, very
Nirupama.
much.
Thank you,
You've been
Nirupama.
part of us,
Thank
even
you.
in our NJH CMEs and in ICR. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
good fun.
Yeah.
I've heard
So
of
we started all this, Madam Shankaran's lecture and PM because of you only. Now we started at Thursday session there, right?
Yeah,
That time we got introduced to this concept.
correct. So that's why so many ICR people are here. And we have to go more and more and more, yes, and we have to progress more and more. Everybody and everyone contributes something or the other to. And what I like best is about this plan. Even when Dhaule made the plan of having the alkaline earths and all that, and we did, it became group study, which was better. Now we to go beyond those groups to bigger groups, which is really
Yes. Yes.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you,
so much.
madam. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.